Well, let's explore this more now with Dr. Ruvi Ziegler, who's an Associate Professor in International Refugee Law at the University of Reading. Welcome to the programme. Thanks for joining us. So what is the reasoning behind processing asylum seekers offshore, in this case, sending them to Rwanda?
Well, I mean, the government's reasoning is the attempt to create a two-tier asylum system, that those who are good refugees who come in invited. In this case, at the moment, just one group follows into that category in the world, and that is Ukrainians, and even that's not been done particularly well. And the rest of the world, that is everyone who can't actually apply to come in legally through a safe and legal route, and so ends up coming across the channel or in other means irregularly. And I mean, your reporter mentioned the percentages of people of a certain gender who've crossed the channel, but of course the relevant figure, to quote, is the Home Office's own figures as to what is the nationality breakdown of the people who have crossed the channel. So 30% of them were Iranians, 21% Iraqis, 11% Eritreans, 9% Syrians. These are all countries that are refugee-producing countries, and in fact, the vast majority of them, according to the Home Office itself, have applied for asylum, having crossed the channel and been recognized as such subsequently in the UK asylum system. So let's be clear what the UK is doing here. The UK is taking people who have come to the UK to seek asylum. They are within the UK's responsibility, and they are seeking to send them to a country with a dismal human rights record where the UK will have no control over the asylum processes that the Rwandan government would put in place, no ability for judicial review of these processes. In the UK itself, 40% of Home Office decisions have been overturned by appeal. There will be no appeal process, as far as we know, in Rwanda. And all of that is done at a huge cost and with no justification in terms of responsibility sharing or, in fact, any other thing.
Sorry to jump in. I wanted to talk both about costs and human rights. There has been plenty of criticism for this plan on both those issues. Does it stack up?
Well, I think the criticism is correct. I mean, on two dimensions. I mean, in terms of the cost and human rights records that we can draw on, we have a tried, tested, and failed model, the Australian model, which the government seems to like on other fronts. Australia had a form of offshoring processes with Papua New Guinea and with Nauru, and in both of these cases, that has led to dreadful conditions for people who were held in those jurisdictions without proper judicial review mechanisms and with a great cost to the Australian taxpayer. And I believe the Conservative MP Andrew Mitchell has calculated that the cost that is estimated in order to implement this offshoring process with Rwanda would be more than housing people at the Ritz and educating them at Eton. So the government is planning to do something that is incredibly costly, is human rights unfriendly, and has no justification in terms of the UK's own responsibility sharing. So if we're thinking about last year's numbers, your reporters quoted 28,000 people. 28,000 people is about 5 people per constituency. It's about 0.05% of the UK's population. 150,000 people have just signed up to host Ukrainians in their homes. Can we really say the UK can't host 28,000 people from war-torn and persecution-driven countries? That is, to my mind, really unjustifiable.